Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dorothy, and today we'll be learning how to make this beautiful flared dress that you're seeing on this video. If this is something you are interested in, please stay back. Let's learn together. Thank you. For this project, we'll be using our Ankara fabric, our tailor chalk, a measuring tape, armhole curve, our scissors, and ruler. So right now I'm going to loosen and spread this my Ankara fabric and cut out the portion that I'll be using for my half length. I have gone ahead to fold my fabric into two. To determine the amount of fabric you will need for this half length, you use your biggest body measurement. For me, the biggest body measurement is the bust. So I divide my bust by 4, then I add extra inches allowance, then I'll go ahead and mark out my half length, then I'll cut it out. This will avoid fabric wasting. Next, I went ahead to measure out my neckline. I will be using 4 by 4 inches for this neckline. That is 4 inches width and 4 inches depth. The neckline will be a round neckline. After marking out my neckline, I will use my armhole ruler or French cuff to connect the line or to give it the round neckline shape, just as I am doing like this. From the point where I placed my tape rule to take my neckline measurement, I'm going to go ahead to place my tape rule back there and measure out my shoulder. My shoulder is 15 divided by 2. I mark it out. Then I came down from that shoulder point. I came down by half an inch to take my shoulder slope. Then I'll go ahead to use my ruler to connect the half an inch I just take. I'll connect it to my neckline. For our armhole line, you take your armhole circumference divide by 2. But in a case where you didn't take your armhole circumference on your client, you can use the bust. The bust divided by 6 plus 1.5 inch. So I have gone ahead to take down my own armhole, which is 8 inches. Then I use my ruler to connect the line like this. Next, I'll measure my armhole line like this and I'll take the midpoint. Mine is 4 inches, so I went ahead to mark out 4 inches. Then I came out on that line by half an inch. Then I mark it out. Then I will divide my bust measurement by 4. My bust is 30. 30 divided by 4 is 7.5. So I went ahead to mark that out on my armhole line, that line. Or rather, let's call it the chest line. So I went ahead to mark that out on it. Then I'll use my curved ruler or my French curve to connect the line. Now let's go on to take our horizontal measurements, which are the bust point, the under bust, and the waistline or half length. From my shoulder line, I place my tape rule and mark out 9.5 inches, which is my client's bust point. Then I came down by 12.5 inches for my under bust. Then on my waistline, I mark out 17 inches for the half length or waist. Then I went ahead to use my ruler to rule out the lines or the points that I just marked out. Let's go on to create our dart. So we divide your bust span, also known as nipple to nipple measurement, by 2. For me, my nipple to nipple measurement is 7.7 inches. I divide 7 inches by 2, which is 3.5. So from my bust point, I place my tape rule and mark out 3.5 inches down to my waistline and my under bust as well. Then I'll use my ruler to connect the line together. For the dart intake, I'm going to use 1 inches. 1 inch divided by 2, which is 0.5, 0.5. So I'll go on my waistline and mark out 0.5 on both sides, like this. Then on my bust point, I'll come down by 1 inch. Then I will go on to use my ruler to connect from that 1 inch line that I came down from to my dart, like this. I'll use my ruler to connect the line to create our dart. Now let's take our remaining body measurements. So I went ahead to divide my bust divide by 4. That is 30 divided by 4. I have 7.5. Then I went ahead to add 2 inches extra allowance. I went ahead to also divide my under bust measurement by 4 plus 2 inches extra allowance. I marked that out on my under bust line. The same thing for my waistline. I divide my waistline by 4. My waistline is 27. 27 divided by 4 is 6.75. Then I mark that out and also mark out 2 inches extra allowance. I will also go and measure the inches that I took for my dart and also place it on my waistline. That is, I measure out my actual measurement plus my 2 inches allowance plus my dart intake, the 1 inch that I took for my dart. I went on to place it on my waistline. After then, I'm going to use my ruler to connect the line together. I'm going to use my scissors to notch my dart before I go ahead and place it on my back piece. This is all for my front piece. So I went ahead to cut some pieces of fabric from my main fabric off camera. So I lay it on the table. I make sure that I lay it flat and arrange everything. Then I'm going to use my measuring tape to mark out 2 inches, which will serve as my zipper allowance. So I marked that 2 inches for my zipper allowance down to my half length. Okay, so I used my ruler to rule out the line before I went ahead to place my front piece on my back piece. After placing my front piece on my back piece, I will use office pin to hold it, both fabric together so that it will not shift. Then I will go on to cut out my back piece just like this. For my back neckline, I'm going to measure 2 inches for my neck depth. Then I'll use my roller to, or I'll use freehand to connect the line to my neck width. Then I'll cut it out. I will also go ahead and make a notch for my zipper allowance so that I will know where my zipper is going to be, or where my zipper is going to start from. I went on to also make a notch for my back piece as well. This is all for my front and my back piece. For the flay part, it is a 180-degree flame. What I did here, I multiplied my waist measurement by 1.5. The 1.5 is for the fullness of the flame. So my waist measurement is 27. Multiplied by 1.5, it gave me 40.5. I added 5 extra inches, making it 45.5. Then I went on my fabric, on my bigger fabric, and measure out 40.5. Then I fold the fabric into two. Then the 40.5, I divided by 6.28. I had 7 point something. So on my measuring tape, I went ahead from the waist point and measure out 7 inches all the way around, just like I did. Then I went ahead to connect the line that I mark out for my waistline. Now let's take the length of the flay. I went ahead to adjust my fabric to fit in the camera. Then from the center point, I'm going to that is where my measurement is going to start from. The length of the dress is 42 inches. So remember that we have removed 17 inches for our half length. So 42 minus 17 is 25 inches. So the length of the flare is going to be 25 inches. So I'll go ahead and measure my 25 inches starting from my center point. So guys, if you have not subscribed to this channel, please do well to subscribe, like, comment and share. In case there is anything you need to ask me, please you can put your question on the comment section and I promise I will attend to all of it. Thank you very much. Then I went ahead to connect the lines together before cutting it out. This is the flare part of the dress. I went on to cut lining pieces for my pieces, that is both for my half length and the flare. Then I joined my two pieces together, that is the lining and the fabric. I placed my lining, each good face on top of my main fabric with the good face. Then I'll take it to the sewing machine and join the neckline and the two sides. I've gone ahead to join my neckline with my lining. So right now I'm going to go ahead and notch all the way around my neckline. I also went ahead to join the sides of the half length. After notching, I went on to turn the fabric out. Then I'll take it to my ironing and iron them flat. also made sure that I iron my dart side. This will make it easier for me to sew my dart. Then I place my front piece on my back piece to mark out my zipper allowance. I arrange it properly before I mark out my zipper allowance. After marking my zipper allowance, I'm going to take it to my sewing machine to join my zipper temporarily. I'll run a temporary stitch on my zipper. Then I'll also go ahead and join the shoulder together. Right here, I will just place one shoulder in between one shoulder. Then I'll use the lining of one shoulder to cover the remaining part of the shoulder. This is basically what I was doing here. I hope you guys understand. Right here, I have gone ahead to join my shoulder, as you can see, like this. So I have ironed that flat. I have also joined my sew my darts. So basically here I'm just going to measure out my bust measurement, that is the remaining body measurement. So I divided my bust by 2, then I mark it out exactly as it is. Then the allowance, I'm going to measure it out, then I will divide the allowance by 2 and share it on the both side. The same thing I'm going to do for my waistline. Just watch. Okay, this is it. I've measured out my seam line, so I'll go ahead and take it to the sewing machine and join the two sides together. Okay, I have gone ahead to join them together. So to join my front piece on my flay, I'll join my fabric and together, then take the midpoint. I'll do the same thing for my flay. I'll join it together, then I'll take the midpoint of the flay, then I'll go ahead to place the flay, the half length on the flay. Okay, this is it. I've joined all the flay and the half length together. If you like, you can go on to use your office pin to hold them together, but for me, I'm just going to run a stitch from the midpoint that I notched earlier. So I've gone ahead to cut out my sleeve. Sorry, my camera went off when I cut out the sleeve, but I promise I'll do a detailed tutorial on how to cut a puff sleeve. I went ahead to cut the lining pieces also, so I'll take it to my sewing machine and join the sleeve together. Okay guys, this is it. I've gone ahead to stitch my puff sleeve. I went ahead to join it with the lining piece. You can see how it is. So let's go ahead to attach the sleeve to the dress. This is the after look of the dress. Thank you guys for watching. Please, if you have not subscribed this channel, please do subscribe, like and comment on this channel. Thank you.